All right, good stuff. This is great. This is like a mix between walking out in the Super Bowl and Brian.
That was pretty exciting. Fun to be here.
As an investor, we don't get a lot of that. My name is Dave Wan. I'm the head of Tidemark, a growth equity firm. We invest in a number of software applications and with a real bent to vertical SaaS. Really excited to chat with Jack today.
I'm excited to be here too. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, Jack's a long-term friend, Tidemark fellow investor, and very grateful to be an investor in Clio. So, Jack, maybe you can start with a little bit of your personal background?
Sure, yeah. My background's in computer science. Ended up doing a master's degree in machine learning and founded Clio about 17 years ago with my elementary school best friend, a guy named Ryan Govro. And over the course of the last 17 years, Clio has grown into a company of about 1,500 people. We're headquartered in Vancouver, BC, with offices in Calgary, Toronto, Dublin, and Sydney. And we're, from a scale perspective, north of 300 million ARR today.
Awesome, 300 million. That's great milestone. Maybe start with a point of arrival and brag a little bit about Clio, what you guys do for your industry, what you do for your customers.
So Clio we describe as the operating system for legal. So if you're a lawyer, you can run your entire practice in the cloud on Clio. You can collaborate and work with your clients with a cloud-based interface. You can invoice your clients electronically and manage basically every aspect of running your law firm in the cloud. And when we launched back in 2008, we were the very first cloud-based practice management system. And now as we move into the age of AI, this is obviously a really exciting opportunity for us to layer some really profound AI capabilities on top of what Clio already does at the operating system level for law firms.
Awesome. Well, let's go back to 10, 15 years ago when you were getting started. There are lots of different PMS providers for law firms, both legacy as well as SaaS.
Yeah.
Where'd you start from a product standpoint?
So we started with a product that is now one of many products at Clio, but the flagship product that we launched back in 2008 is Clio Manage. And this is what you describe as the control point product, Dave, where we really help a law firm manage every aspect of what's going on in the law firm with their clients. So they need to track their matters, their documents, their to-do list. They need to keep track of the open activities with clients. They need to keep track of their billings to clients, the payments they've received. We've now attached a GL to all of the work they're doing as well. So Clio manages as that system of record and system of intelligence for a law firm has been the backbone of our growth and our expansion story. And really, lawyers start using Clio as a verb in the law firm, where they're anthropomorphizing Clio and saying, go to Clio. If we're tracking it, if it's something we need to know, it's in Clio. So it just becomes their central store of all the information going on in their law firm.
So you're the control point. You're the most important system for your customers. You have the most data gravity.
Exactly. What we hear from our customers all the time is Clio's the first application they open in the morning and the last application they close at night.
Awesome. And one of the great things about a control point is you have an unfair right to sell multiple products and maybe all products to your customers. And so maybe share a little bit about the journey there. What was your first expansion product?
Our first expansion product was a company we acquired called Lexicata. And Lexicata was a legal CRM. And what it helped our clients do was basically intake new clients. So they might arrive at their website and decide they want to do work with that lawyer. A key part of starting that process is going through intake, getting the client into your platform, getting them through a pipeline, essentially, and converted into a client. So you can think about this as HubSpot or Salesforce designed specifically for lawyers. I think one of the key strategies we launched a few years after we launched Clio was building a platform, building an open platform that other developers could build on top of Clio. And back back in those days, we launched the platform roughly in 2013. And we've been at it for 12 plus years now. And we now have 300 integration partners built on top of that platform. And I was inspired with what Mark Benioff had done with Force.com, and I saw what a powerful competitive moat that created around Salesforce. And we were Salesforce customers and back then, and we still are today. And it's just such a powerful thing when you even look at something you want to add on like Marketo, and the first and often only integration point they might have is Salesforce. And we wanted to do that in legal. We thought if we can be the platform that other innovative companies are building on top of, that puts us in a really strong position. And the cheat code that gives us is from a corp dev perspective. You can see exactly what kind of product is getting traction with your customers. And we saw really clearly in those early days that that Lexicata, what is now turned into Clio Grow, our legal CRM, was taking off with our customers. It was a really nice extension to what we were delivering with that core control point of Clio Manage. And in now the 6 or 7 years since we acquired Lexicata, this is a business that on its own is doing tens of millions of ARR, has penetrated into 40+% of our base, and is a wildly successful product that we were able to underwrite with a very high degree of certainty that this is a product that we could add on, bring to our customers. And since acquiring Lexicata, we've now been able to acquire 5 additional products, and all but one of those was an integration partner that we could see that signal from the platform that this is a fit, this is successful, this is, oh, by the way, you also get perfect visibility into what's retention look like. You can survey customers and understand what NPS is. The kind of data that you would never be able to get arm's length from a company just surveying the marketplace.
Yeah, I love the platform strategy. I love it in respect to corp dev. We'll tack back as we talk about AI and some of the integration dynamics there. But so you start out with the with essentially the Grow product. It's early in the workflow with a customer. Customer's a central stakeholder.
Kind of that first stage of the customer journey. And just as a brief aside, that's one of the things we found to be really useful thinking about our product roadmap and how to frame out how our product roadmap could evolve over time, is thinking about what does the customer journey, and by customer I mean, what does the client journey look like for one of our law firm's prospective clients? What's the journey they need to go through to learn about their legal issue, to find a law firm that they want to work with, to actually go through the intake process with a law firm, to sign an engagement letter, to get the legal work product and even initial consultation delivered to them, and then finally receive the final work product and pay for the transaction, and then hopefully go into some kind of advocacy and referral motion. So we looked at that whole journey and mapped out, what are the series of products that we can build out to really, I think to use your term, Dave, what's the TAM shark approach to going and eating up that entire customer journey, and not only delivering a ton of value to our customers, but framing what does this digital transformation need to look like in this industry to take, in legal, what is a lot of bricks and mortar and analog pen and paper processes, and pull that into the cloud.
Yeah, I love that. I love the customer centricity. I love follow the workflow, having that drive your product strategy. So you started there as the second product. How many products now do you sell to your customers?
We have 7 products that we sell in various configurations to our customers, including a brand new product that we acquired just a couple of months ago called ShareDo. And this is an enterprise offering that really solves for the needs of enterprise 1,000+ lawyer firms, which is a market that Clio has never really served directly. But ShareDo opens up an entirely new enterprise segment for us. And Clio Manage, Clio Grow, Clio Draft, Clio Payments, and the calendar rules and ecosystem of related products that we sell into the core SMB products. We've got about a half dozen products we sell to our customers today.
Awesome. So you're scaling locations, you're scaling ARPU. As you think back and you reflect on the journey, was there one or two expansion products that really were a step function change for you, either in the economics of your business, the retention of your business, or how you engage with your customers?
Yeah, I think about the step function as really being this compounding layer cake. And we talk about the fact that we're trying to deliver incremental customer value in a way that in maybe the first year we release a product, it might only do a few $1 million of ARR. But all of the new products we're launching today, we want to have line of sight to how that becomes a $50 or $100 million ARR business over the course of 4 or 5 years. And the way we frame the stage of the growth trajectory we're on today is how do we get from 300 million of ARR to $1 billion of ARR, basically by executing on this revenue layer cake. So the really meaningful movers thus far have been Clio Grow. This is a product that we really believe almost every law firm needs and has been really, really successful. We've been very successful with Clio Payments, which is our payments product, and this has been able to grow into more than 20% of our annual recurring revenue today, and wow. Payments has just been an explosive opportunity. We're doing, our customers in aggregate are doing tens of billions of dollars of aggregate billing on Clio, and as payments goes through digital transformation, this is a huge monetization opportunity for us.
Well, it's a bit more than monetization, right? We've talked about this in the past. Obviously, great additional ARPU, but it also has changed your retention rates. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, payments is probably one of the single biggest win-win-win propositions that I think we, in particular, and I think in general, any vertical SaaS player can really deliver to their customers. Because number one, we see a dramatic increase in retention. We see our customers drive a dramatic reduction in their AR. They're able to dramatically reduce the amount of time it takes them to get paid. They're able to go back even to clients and bills that they've written off and send a single email through our automated workflow for collections and say, hey, last time we asked you to pay this, we asked you to pay by check. We know that you probably don't know where your checkbook is. Can you just pay online with credit card? And in 2 minutes, the client's paid that bill that's been outstanding maybe for a year or 2 years in some cases. So there's a dramatic and positive impact to the law firm. And then there's a really positive impact to the client experience because you've just made that payment experience seamless. We enable more an expansion of the payment offerings and payment types you can accept. We accept credit card, we accept ACH. We allow customers to set up a vaulted card that gets charged automatically for a subscription payment, for example. So it just really modernizes that payment experience, and it's often actually the last interaction a client has with you. And the more you can make that seamless, you're leaving a good taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, what's so amazing about payments is it's just a win on multiple fronts. And when we launched Clio in 2008, even 5 years into the journey, I'd say we had no idea what a huge opportunity payments represented, but it certainly turned out to be one of the most important drivers of our growth and a really fundamental aspect of the digital transformation that's happening in legal.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of ink spelt around the attachment of payments to vertical SaaS, but every time I see it's an amazing monetization opportunity, and it really does change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're actually, as you predicted, Jack, we're running a little bit short on time. So maybe we can go directly to AI, and then we can loop back onto some of the other great GTM aspects of scaling to 300 million, which I think Reagan's actually going to cover a little bit tomorrow. So
yeah,
let's fast
forward. Great.
So lots of interest in AI here and elsewhere, and legal is kind of ground zero for it, just because it's professional services, high value of work. Our belief is a control point has an unfair right to cross-sell all products, including AI, and so AI is an opportunity for you guys. It's also a threat. Maybe let's start with the opportunity side. How do you think about the opportunity in AI for Clio?
Yeah, well, we just went through a big fundraise last year, a Series F that was a $900 million raise, and Tidemark and a bunch of other great firms participated in that round. And one of the questions we got from investors was, hey, look, legal is near the top of the list of industries that's going to be disrupted by AI. Is this a threat or is this an opportunity for Clio? And we needed to have a really clean and crisp answer to that question. And we'd been thinking about it a lot internally as well. And look, there's no question there's a dramatic amount of disruption and change that's going to happen in legal with AI. Goldman Sachs published a report a couple of years ago, stack ranking the industries that are going to be transformed and disrupted by AI. And legal was number 2, next only to administrative work in general for the amount of disruption that it was vulnerable to. And there's a few data points that really help frame up how we think about the broader AI opportunity in legal. Number one, AI is going to make lawyers dramatically more efficient, and it's going to make them better at the work that they've traditionally been quite poor at. If you look at the average law firm, and by the way, the majority of the legal market is made up of solos and small firms. A lot of us think about suits and think about the 1,000-person law firms in a fancy downtown skyscraper. But the reality is that 80% of law firms are 10 lawyers or less, and half of all lawyers are solos. So it's a very entrepreneurial, very SMB market. And like most SMBs, they're not great at marketing. They're not great at intake. They're not great at following up with clients and getting referrals and follow-on business. And I think all of this business of law type functionality is going to be agentic AI in the very near future. You're going to call a law firm and you're going to speak to what sounds like a human being, helping qualify you and see if you're a fit for the law firm. And a lawyer is going to be sitting down with a cup of coffee in their hand in the morning, interviewing potential clients that AI intake agent has helped set up meetings with. We're going to see on the practice of law side, lawyers have their productivity dramatically amplified by agentic AI that can go do legal research for them, that can go draft briefs for them. And lawyers absolutely need to be in the loop here, but they're going to be able to get a lot more done in a lot less time. The broader opportunity I see is an opportunity to dramatically expand the TAM of legal. There's a stat from the World Justice Project that I cite all the time, which is that 77% of legal matters go unresolved with the help of a lawyer, meaning lawyers don't touch more than 3/4 of the legal demand out there because lawyers are too expensive, too inaccessible, too hard to reach. In some cases, they don't even pick up the phone or answer an email because they're so overwhelmed. So when you look at that and you look at what AI will bring, I think it's in the same vein as what the mechanical loom did to textiles or what the assembly line did to automobiles, which is it will dramatically lower the cost of delivering legal services. Concurrent with that, the cost of accessing legal services will be dramatically lowered. And that in turn, as it did with textiles and as it did with automobiles, the amount of demand and the number of people that can then access those goods is dramatically going to expand.
Yep.
And today, the legal market is about $1 trillion a year worldwide of spend. And AI, I think, presents an opportunity to double, triple, or quadruple the size of that TAM. And lawyers will be able to more efficiently deliver legal services, higher quality legal services, to a dramatically expanded audience.
Yeah, I love the idea of your perspective around technology expanding the market. We've seen that in other scenarios. We're talking off stage as well about the existing market in terms of the jobs to be done by the different law firms. And what I loved about your approach was very similar to the multi-product approach, which is let's follow what these customers are doing. And you're breaking up into jobs that humans will do only, jobs that will be augmented with AI, and jobs that will be fully substituted with AI. Maybe describe your view on these various different jobs within legal, really just to bring to life the framework of how you think about it.
Yeah, I think with AI, we see a really dramatic shift around how you need to think about developing product from a world where you listen to what your customers are telling you should build for them to really needing to embed yourselves deeply in how a typical law office works and look for those opportunities to automate an entire role or automate some substantial portion of how somebody spends their day and allow them to focus their energy on what they're great at and what they really love doing. And the conversation I've had with our product management team is, we need to get way closer to our customers. We need to understand how we do the work. Sarah Tavel wrote a great piece talking about this concept of needing to do the work. We're selling work rather than software in the age of AI. And I think in order to sell that work, you need to think not so much, how do I, for example, support a personal injury lawyer in keeping on top of their to-do list and keeping on top of their documents, but how do I help them draft a demand letter completely automatically, leveraging a deep pool of data to extract exactly the right demand that they should be making of the insurance company they're placing a demand against. And to do that, you need to really deeply understand the nuts and bolts of how a personal injury lawyer does their work and transform that into AI. So the job of a product manager, the job of your product organization in general, I think has radically changed over the last couple of years. If you want to capitalize on that AI opportunity and if you want to be prepared to evolve into the world of what agentic AI will look like.
Yeah. Maybe let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the threats. Jason earlier this morning talked about the 1,000 native AI startups that are coming for you. And legal, as you mentioned, is a hotbed for this. So the typical approach we see is a native point solution, native AI point solution will integrate and surround. You have an ecosystem platform approach. How do you reconcile those two?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And I think one of our value props to anyone innovating in legal, whether you're AI native or more of a pure play SaaS tool, is you don't need to reinvent the wheel of what Clio as the operating system for legal does. You can tie into our APIs and you can focus on the really specific point value you're delivering to customers. And by and large, we want to support all the native AI companies that are building on top of the Clio platform. But with the caveat that I think we need to be more deliberate and more strategic about how we're opening up certain aspects of our data to those partners, because frankly, there's parts of that AI workflow that we're going to want to own. Because number one, we think we're best positioned to deliver the maximum value on that front. And we're going to want to control that customer experience and control the data that supports that to some degree.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a really interesting tension that starts to emerge over the next few months and years around platforms and the AI players that are building on top of those platforms that are maybe going to demand access to data that at the end of the day, I think your thesis around vertical SaaS is absolutely correct, that as the control point and as the home to all of that client data, home to all of those workflows, we've got an unnatural right to win in a lot of these AI-based workflows because we have uniquely broad access to all of that data.
Yeah, 100%. This is a little bit simplifying it, but Clio helps manage the business of law.
That's right.
A lot of these point solutions help practitioners basically automate the practice of law.
That's right. Exactly.
And so as you think about those things coming together, how do you need to adapt and how do you need to think about it from a business model standpoint, go-to-market, pricing standpoint?
It's a great question. And the way we talk about this internally at Clio is traditionally Clio has been a business of law platform. We help you run the business of your law firm. The evolution that we're seeing on the practice of law and tools that support lawyers doing things like legal research, doing things like drafting legal briefs, and so on, are starting to converge. This world of the business of law and the practice of law are going to converge, and we have a really natural, we're seeing this demand from customers already because they have the workflows in Clio where they have a task where they need to go draft a certain kind of legal document. And the question they're naturally enough asking Clio is, why can't I draft that document directly within Clio? I've got all the data that I need to draft that document in Clio. You just need a few AI-based tools to really help support this. So I think the business of law tools are going to get pulled into the practice of law over time. And similarly, I think there's a lot of practice of law tools, especially as agentic capabilities start emerging in the practice of law, you're going to get questions like, well, how do you manage the workflows? How are lawyers supervising and orchestrating the work that these agents are doing on their behalf? And they're going to get pulled into the business of law and this orchestration layer around what's going on in their law firm. So I see over the next 2 to 3 years a massive amount of convergence between the business of law and the practice of law. And I think in general there's a flavor of this pattern that are happening in many other verticals in SaaS that is going to really dramatically reshape the landscape, the competitive landscape.
Awesome. Well, I think we're at time, so we got through half of our talk.
That flew by.
But really appreciate you sharing your journey and all Clio's success. I think you're taking questions off-site?
Yeah, I think we'll take some questions off to the side as well. But this was great, Dave. Thanks. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. All right, appreciate it.